Hey guys, welcome to another ToraNin video. Before I begin, I want to say a big welcome and thank you to everyone who has recently subscribed to my channel and to all of you who have stayed subscribed. You guys are simply amazing. A big shout out also goes to everyone who watches my video. I know there's so much content out there for you to choose from, so if you clicked on mine, you simply honor me. Today, I will be talking about the Senju clan and what could possibly have happened to them. This is by no means a novel question or idea from me, as it has been discussed by other people on YouTube and on other platforms such as Reddit and Quora. What I'll be doing is analyzing the more popular theories I've seen and sort of taking the reasonable parts of those theories to add to my perspective on what could have happened to the clan. The Senju clan is perhaps the second most powerful clan to exist in the Naruto Borutoverse after the Otsutsuki clan. They, along with the Uchiha clan, were the two most respected and feared clans of the Warring States period, frequently clashing with each other since most people hired one clan as a direct counter to an opponent hiring the other. Like the Uchiha clan, the Senju clan are direct descendants of one of Hagoromo's two sons, in this case Ashura Otsutsuki, the younger son. Their name, Senju, literally means 1,000 hands, and was inspired by the fact that this was a clan with notably diverse ninjutsu. We'll get back to this little detail later in the video. The Senju clan, along with the Uchiha clan, were also the founding clans of the very first shinobi village, Konohagakure. Throughout their existence, they produced highly skilled and legendary shinobi from their ranks, including the three most well-known Tsunade Senju, Tobirama Senju, and a man regarded as the god of all shinobi, as well as the only one who could defeat the legendary Uchiha Madara, Hashirama Senju. With all of their accomplishments, it's easy to see why there are so many questions and theories about what could possibly have happened to such a powerful clan and their very noticeable absence by the time the Naruto story begins. It isn't unusual for clans to be annihilated in this universe though. The Uzumaki clan was massacred for fear of their Fuinjutsu. The Kaguya clan literally waltzed to their death when they decided it was a good idea to attack Kirigakure of all shinobi villages. I don't know about you, but out of all the great shinobi villages, Kirigakure strikes the most fear in me, as they have a propensity to produce rather vicious shinobi. Have you seen the Seven Swordsmen of the Hidden Mist? Moving along, the Uchiha clan was taken out in one night by Itachi and Obito Uchiha. The Iburi clan was literally feasted on by Orochimaru. The point is, nearly 100% clan extinction is not uncommon in the Narutoverse, but it is usually due to a number of reasons, like the clan being overwhelmed by a powerful adversary such as the Iburi and Kaguya clans, defeated by a coalition of forces such as the Uzumaki clan, or a victim of their own cycle of hate that ultimately leads to self-destruction from within, like the Uchiha clan. The Senju were the polar opposite of weak, had many allies, or at least more allies than enemies, and were known as a clan of love and the primary custodians of the Will of Fire. The Will of Fire is a philosophy of collaboration and loyalty to the common goals of peaceful cohabitation, unity, and safety of the village by developing skills and power to protect the precious parts of life for all humans. But as I said earlier, by the time Naruto's story starts, Tsunade Senju is the only known living Senju. Let's take a look at the theories that we're going to be talking about today. The first theory talks about the Senju being killed off during the first Great Shinobi War. Proponents of this theory point to the fact that Tobirama, who was Hokage at the time, did die in this war, and most likely a lot of other Senju experienced the same fate since they would have made up the majority of Konoha's military forces. This was apparently due to Tobirama relegating the Uchiha to the role of a police force restricted to law enforcement and combating crime within the village. That, and add in the Second Great Ninja War, where we clearly see Nawaki Senju, Tsunade's younger brother, die, and this is probably how all the Senju got wiped out. They all jumped headlong into paper bomb traps. There are a couple of reservations I have with this theory. The first is this: we know not all members of a clan will die during a war, and at the formation of Konohagakure, we know the Shimura clan, Nara clan, and I believe the Sarutobi clan all bought into the idea of Konoha and joined the founding clans not long after its formation. I'm pretty sure they would have participated just as vigorously in defending Konoha during the First Great Shinobi War. Yet today, as far as we know, the Shimura clan, the Nara clan, and Sarutobi clan are still going strong. They've survived 4 Great Shinobi Wars. Then there's the fact that none of these clans were as skilled or as powerful as the Senju clan was. If they weren't wiped out during the course of one war, why should we think that the Senju, who were the top clan during the Warring States period, would be? Additionally, not every member of a clan becomes a shinobi and goes into battle, so I'm pretty sure there would be some civilian Senju back in the village. Going beyond this, it seems pretty uncharacteristic of a shrewd tactician like Tobirama to keep the Uchiha from participating in a war on this scale. The Uchiha have AKK Genkai, one of the most powerful at that, the Sharingan. We know that every village deploys Kekkei Genkai wielders, native or loyal to them, as their elite soldiers or battle weapons during a war. In the Naruto universe, battles can turn on a dime with the timely introduction of a Kekkei Genkai wielder into the battlefield. There is no reason why any Kage, and one as tactical as Tobirama at that, would refrain from using one of the strongest ones in history when it was freely at his disposal to command. Besides, we do know that Kagami Uchiha was part of Tobirama's Hokage guard and was present when Tobirama sacrificed himself for them, so I'm pretty sure there were Uchiha fighting in that war, unless we assume Kagami Uchiha was the only one involved. Finally, keeping the Uchiha back in Konoha while going to a battle where, despite how skilled they were, their numbers would be reduced would not have been a smart plan by Tobirama for keeping the Uchiha as the police force. If all the Senju died during the war, who would be left to stop the Uchiha from stepping up and becoming the dominant clan of the village at that time? The second theory with regards to the Senju's extinction focuses on them possibly marrying into other families and dropping their Senju names, effectively mixing in with Konoha such that most people might be part Senju without identifying as Senju. I agree with this theory to an extent. I do believe there are a lot of people walking around with Senju blood in them, and perhaps they may or may not know. However, I don't agree with the proposition that this theory is the reason why we don't see any Senju at all. Unfortunately, that would largely assume that most or all of the Senju descendants were women who married into other clans, thus dropping their Senju name. We live in a patriarchal world where, for the most part, the women take the name of their husband. And in the Naruto verse, this is replicated as most kunoichi take on the name of the clan they marry into. For instance, Hinata Hyuga is now Hinata Uzumaki since she married Naruto. This is a picture of Hashirama and Tobirama with a bunch of other Senju members. I highly doubt they all had daughters exclusively, so what happened to the Senju men? The third theory talks about the Senju not being able to produce enough successors and uses Mito Uzumaki's difficulty in childbearing as a Jinchuriki as an example. This would assume that every Senju married an Uzumaki who was a Jinchuriki, or that every Senju woman or Senju wife experienced difficulty in childbearing. That would be some tough luck. As you can see, all of these theories take a lot into assumption, and most of these assumptions would have to be a perfect sum of circumstances, at least for any of these theories alone to be the reason there are no Senju in the village other than Tsunade. However, there are aspects of the first 2 theories that hold merit and I believe contributed to the decline of the Senju name within the Naruto verse. As I said earlier in the video, the Senju are known to be a clan of love and custodians of the Wheel of Fire, which places loyalty to the village above loyalty to any clan. Based on this loyalty, there is some merit to the Senju being selfless during Konoha's battles. After all, Tobirama did sacrifice himself so the Wheel of Fire could be inherited by the next generation and led by Hiruzen, someone who had proven his bravery by first offering to sacrifice himself as a decoy. It is possible that a lot of other Senju lived and died by this philosophy. Then there is that notion of collaboration and cohabitation in peace. Whatever Senju that were left behind were most likely focused on building a peaceful future through peaceful means rather than war, in keeping with Hashirama Senju's vision for the village. Also, since the Senju viewed the village as one clan, it is likely that they did not keep to themselves and carve out a section of the village as theirs, much like other clans did, such as the Uchiha, the Nara, and even the Hyuga clans. That means the Senju were spread out, and with no specific Kekkei Genkai or unique skill to protect or preserve, most likely freely intermarried with other clans and even non-clan families. That being said, any Senju daughters would invariably lose the Senju name, as opposed to most Uchiha daughters or Hyuga daughters who would keep their name, since they most likely would marry other members of their own clan. While this could not entirely wipe out the name, as there would most likely have been Senju sons, it would reduce the presence of the name faster than if both sons and daughters of the Senju kept their marital unions within the clan. The diversity of the Senju's ninjutsu skills also makes it hard to determine who, if any, are left are definitely Senju. Unlike other clans that had a handful of jutsus or Kekkei Genkai that they were known for, the Senju were literally the clan of 1,000 hands. They perhaps literally mastered thousands of jutsus and had a diverse array of chakra affinities, as well as Kekkei Genkai such as the Mokuton, of which Hashirama was the only known user. This means that as easy as it is to determine that a Sharingan user is most likely an Uchiha, or that a Byakugan user is most likely a Hyuga, or that a Shadow Stitching user is most likely a Nara clan member, it is just as difficult on the opposite spectrum to determine whether or not a shinobi is a Senju by their skill. Could a lightning-based shinobi like Kakashi, who also mastered 1,000 jutsu and could be said to possess 1,000 hands of sorts, be part Senju? Could a multi-skilled shinobi such as Jiraiya have been part Senju? They may or may not be. Finally, I do think most of the Senju decided not to toe the path of the shinobi and instead lead normal lives. If this is true, it may explain why we do not hear anything about them, as they aren't involved in shinobi activities anymore. Despite their absence, the legacy of the Senju can be felt throughout the Narutoverse, from the founding of the village itself to Senju Park to the 3 Hokage they've produced to the village members and to all those who've inherited and embodied the will of fire. Their legacy may also be literally thousands of hidden leaf shinobi who knowingly or perhaps unknowingly carry the Senju bloodline within them. A hidden 1,000 hands, as it were. What are your thoughts on the fate of the Senju clan? Do they live on, or did they suffer the same fate as other clans who have been wiped off the face of the Naruto earth? Share your thoughts in the comments below and we'll most definitely talk about it. If you like this video, don't hesitate to give it a like, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and share them. The more the merrier. Until next time, thanks for watching, and Jana.